It was in 2020 that Nike obtained, bought out the rights to be the primary uniform provider for MLB. And New Era would keep, and it better keep, the hat licensing for the uniforms for MLB. But 2021, with the culture of the youthful players, Fernando Tatis Jr., Tim Anderson, Ronald Acuna Jr., Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and so many more young, vibrant players that want to energize the game of baseball, not play so much of that old-timey traditionalism, conservatism, old way folk kind of baseball. They want to hype up the game. They want to have fun and be playful. So Nike kind of wanted to roll with that. Not saying that this was the exact inspiration, but it all coincides coincidentally with each other. Nike is also the uniform provider for the NBA. And back in 2017, 2018, they started a City Edition program collection for all of the NBA teams. And it's been going on every year, and kind of it's overrun its course. But they brought that over to that city identification kind of mentality design to MLB this year. So this year, MLB came out with their City Connect uniforms. All their new jerseys, and new hats, and new socks, pants, the like, shoes even, patches, all the whole 9 yards. I mean, a lot of people were kind of caught off guard initially when we saw a bright blue and yellow Boston Red Sox uniform. People didn't know what to think. I didn't know, but people caught on. People couldn't wait until the next one came out. So we're going to go through ranking each hat and each jersey. We're going to do it on separate lists for the 7 City Connect uniforms that came out this year from Nike and New Era. Well, Nike was the main prominent designer for it, and then New Era, of course, had to work with them because they're the hat providers. We're going to keep it that way. I'm looking at you, fanatics. Stay out of it. So, in this video, we're going to do a definitive ranking of the hats and jerseys from the Nike and New Era 2021 City Connect uniforms. So it's definitive, so you might want to stick around to see where I rank your team that might have gotten a City Connect uniform this year. And we're going to talk about the future of the City Connect idea. So, get out a notebook, pen or pencil, because class is in session. Let's go! Yeah. So after doing some consulting with some people, it was best to go about of a separate list for the jerseys and uniforms. Because they kind of have their own kind of personalities in some perspective. So that's why I'm doing it in a separate list for each. But we're going to do it kind of side by side. You'll see. So, starting with number 7 for the jerseys, the San Francisco Giants. I mean, watching the Chris Kramer Sports Logo video and review, he made the one note that it's a white jersey. It's not cream colored because that's their more traditional color for their home uniforms, where most teams would have white and or pinstripe. The Giants have a traditional cream color home uniform all the time. For me, it was the fog that didn't get well executed. I like the idea, but just something with the execution was kind of like an ombre effect with it. It didn't turn out as well as I think it was intended to be. Looking at the jock tag, you have the fog cloud in front of Giants, and where it has the Nike and MLB logo there in the bottom of the jersey. I mean, the bridge on the sleeve is really cool. I do like that. That was great. The old style, what it's calling here the modified G on the chest, it's okay. it's just the fog effect just not really working for me. So that's the number 7 jersey on the list. The number 7 hat of the City Connect uniforms. Los Angeles Dodgers. This was the last of the City Connect uniforms to be debuted in 2021, and we're making this video after every one has been debuted. Looking at the hats, it's standard like Dodgers script cursive font. This kind of feels like a hat that would have been made for MLB genuine merchandise, that this wouldn't really be a on-field MLB engineered hat. It seems like I've seen this hat before somewhere, so it just doesn't seem anything new, especially with the colors being used. So at least with this execution, it didn't feel like it was anything new, and especially being the Dodgers, I get it. There was a quote out there, whether it was the manager Dave Roberts or one of the players, but there was a quote from someone from the Dodgers, it was the staff, that they only have gray and white uniforms. They don't have any other alternative uniforms for any special days. They have white for home, plain white, and gray for the road. That's it. They only have one hat, unless it's like a holiday event. But otherwise, just 2 versions, 2 uniforms. So this was a big thing for them. So yes, but I feel like it could have just been executed a little bit better. I do like my brother's comments initially about the Los Angeles Dodgers hat and uniform release. The number 6 jersey of the City Connect uniforms is Los Dodgers. I mean, looking at it, it's like a basic blue uniform, Dodger blue, which isn't necessarily like a Cubby blue, but it's a darker blue. The numbers is in bright red. You have Los Dodgers under script, and then you have the details in the sleeve of, they wanted to have the idea of like graffiti, so it's like spray paint, like black spray paint on the end of the sleeves. And other than that, trying to look at some of the other pictures from the release, was there any other extra details to it? And from what I've seen, not many other details that they really added. So it just felt kind of bland, but it wasn't as bad as the fog. But the idea of the sleeve having that graffiti, that black paint there, spray paint, and unless you explain it to someone, no one's going to know what that is. The number 6 hat on the City Connect uniform list rankings is the Arizona Diamondbacks. This one, I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of specialty with it. Trying to look at the pictures with it, it's a desert color canvas, and the button, the flag, the Arizona A snake logo, and the brim is black. So, I mean, the colors are good. It's just okay. That's kind of cool. Nothing too special, but not as lazily executed as the Dodgers hat. So this one is the number 6 hats of the City Connect uniforms. The number 5 jersey for the list, you just saw their hat. Arizona Diamondbacks for the Serpentines, I know I'm butchering the name, jersey. Color is supposed to represent the desert, the sand, all that nature out there. The side patch, well, I'm looking at it backward here, on the right side is a state flag, clip masked inside. It's a very famous state flag, and just like the Chicago flag, it's very easy to replicate and to put into a hat, to a uniform, and that was well put together. The snake making the S, that was very well done. And the rest of the cursive was also well done too. The colors on the back are also nicely made out, and on the jock tag there on the bottom of the uniform, it shows the triangle, the snake making the triangle, and then the sun there. Kind of a cool little logo there. I think that should have been like maybe on the side patch on the other side, wherever it is, but it was a pretty good uniform. But it was a pretty good jersey. The number 5 City Connect hat, the San Francisco Giants. The hat is a bright orange. It isn't like a traffic cone or safety vest bright orange, but it's well lit, and the side patch with the Golden Gate Bridge outline that was also used in the sleeves on the jersey, it connects well. Even though the jersey here didn't turn out so well, I do like that the hat and the jersey do connect to each other. Yes, pun intended, City Connect. But they do work. But I do like that incorporation. It's a bright orange, for sure. You'll be able to spot them on the field. And this one I originally had at 6 actually, but then after really looking at it and the extra detail that they put in with the bridge, put it above the Arizona hat. Number 4 jersey of the City Connect uniforms, Boston Red Sox. Everyone made all the jokes of, oh, the Boston Red Sox are now the Boston Bruins, not the hockey team, but the UCLA, or as I would say, UCLA Bruins, the school out in Southern California, University of California, Los Angeles, that these are the same colors of bright baby blue and yellow, and that B looks very, very similar too. So was this like copyright infringement, trademark overstepping? No, it was actually the colors were connecting to the Boston Marathon after going into a little bit more detail and them, Nike, explaining the meaning behind all the colors. So reading straight from the Sports Logo Chris Creamer website, it says, yellow and blue colors, stenciled font inspired by the finish line at the Boston Marathon. And then on the side was a sleeve side patch. Sleeve patch designed to resemble a Boston Marathon runner bib. The number 617 is Fenway Park's area code. So Boston Marathon, there was the Boston Marathon attack, the bombing, the terrorist attack back in 2013, and the Bruins tried to use that. They got to the Stanley Cup Finals, which was a feel-good story. Yes, they did lose to the Blackhawks, so go Blackhawks, but it was a feel-good story for the Bruins to come back from 3-1 in the series against the Maple Leafs, and the Maple Leafs almost took Game 7, and the Maple Leafs just totally shit the bed. And the Bruins went then on to the Stanley Cup Finals to go to 6 games with the Hawks. So they took it as inspiration, and so did the Red Sox. But they took it a little bit further because they won the World Series and against the St. Louis Cardinals. But Boston Marathon has a lot of meaning because of that, the Boston Strong, and it's been a tradition in Boston for over 100-some years. So I'm not a Boston native myself, so I'm sure that people of Boston have a deeper connection to the marathon, not just because of the terrorist attack that made the city come together, connect them together, but more history and more meaning behind it in the first place, and that's why they used that inspiration for the first City Connect jersey. Number 4 City Connect hat is the Miami Marlins. Now this one would have been higher, would have been number 3, but having the current logo on the side of the hat really took it down. Now the front of the hat is great because it connects to the Sugar Kings, the Cuban Sugar Kings that the uniform is based off of. The colors are vibrant, they're bright. It's a bright blue, not like the Boston Red Sox blue that they use, but a tropical light blue. Light teal, I'm getting into too many color technicalities. It was great. The updated logo of the front of the emblem was the MM from Miami Marlins. All great, but then you throw on the side patch of the current Marlins logo. I mean, the current Marlins logo in the first place is crap to begin with, so why have that connected to the new uniform? So everything was great until that side patch. You could have had something else that was related to the original team that this was based off of, the Cuban Sugar Kings. So yeah, so close. The number 3 jersey for the City Connect uniforms, I mean, I made the list originally, but looking back at it now, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go with the Miami Marlins, and the top 3 jerseys were like really, really close. And I like the Miami jersey that it's a different color than what they use, like completely. Like they have like red in the current logo, but red isn't really. I mean, it's the stitching in the baseball, and maybe like a shadow of the dolphin, the marlin. But they don't use red at all. So for them to go completely for an alternative color with red, I like that. The shadowing of the Miami in blue is nice. It's very subtle pinstriping. It's not like a pinstripe like the Cubs jersey is or the Yankees jersey is, but it's more subtle. It kind of feels like a summer Cuban shirt. And for the side patches for the Marlins to incorporate the original design of the Sugar Kings logo, where it has like the bag of sugar and then it says Sugar King in there with a crown, and put that in there and have the Miami Marlins, kind of like an updated version. Really cool, really true, and really nicely dedicated, and pays homage, pays well respects to the origins. That's what we're looking for. The number 3 hat on the list is the Boston Red Sox. I was about to say Bruins, it's stuck in my head. So the Red Sox hat is all baby blue with accents of yellow in the background of the B where the white would be. Instead it's yellow. The button is yellow, but the eyelets aren't, which is fine. So it all comes together. It's pretty solid. Would have been nice if there was like some sort of like side patch to it or side emblem, possibly having like the 617 incorporated. That would have been nice, but not like that side patch. That was a sleeve. That's a sleeve patch, or something like just subtle. Would have been nice. But this is number 3 because the Miami Marlins one would have been number 3 if it wasn't for the fact of that ugly Marlins logo. I know that some of the NBA City Edition hats did that before. It's like, that's kind of ruining it. We know what the new logo is for the team. You don't have to put it in the old logo and be like, oh, well, you know those 4 stars synonymous with the Chicago Bulls? We're going to put it on the front of the hat, but we're still going to put Bulls on there and the Bulls logo, you know, just in case you forget who it is. Okay, we get it. The number 2 jersey for the list, so it's between the 2 Chicago teams. It's really tough, and I tried to be unbiased as I could be, and objective. And when it came out and was leaked that's the Cubs City Connect jersey, it looked so lazy. It looked so bad. I was excited about it. And then a few weeks later, about 2 months later, you see the Giants and the Dodgers one, and makes you really rethink, like, oh, yeah, maybe the Cubs was actually a good one. So I didn't get the Wrigleyville shirt and or jersey, which I did, but I'll find it later. But it has the kind of wave of the marquee in the Wrigleyville. So Wrigleyville is kind of in a word pattern. The shape is curved like it's the top of the silhouette of the marquee outside of Wrigley Field. On the jog tag on the bottom of the jersey, it says "Respect our neighborhood." Now in the press release, it showed 77 as the number being used because there's 77 little individual neighborhoods in Chicago itself, and there's a lot. I do like the subtle detail of the sleeve patch. It's in a circle, Chicago Cubs, and you see the 4 stars in like a Y shape. That Y shape is supposed to represent Wolf's Point, which I didn't know until when these came out, that Wolf's Point is where the Chicago River meets and it all intersects with each other. All the different rivers of Chicago intersect with each other and splits either into Lake Michigan, or goes north, or goes south into the Illinois River to the Mississippi River, etc. But the navy, though, granted the Cubs have a Cubby blue, which is like a royal blue, so the navy isn't too far off, but it's different though. It was really nice. It stood out, and the whole uniform being navy was really nice. So the number 2 hat of the City Connect hats in the rankings is the Chicago White Sox hat with the, in like a Gothic script, Chi, C-H-I, and it's pretty simple. The C actually kind of reminds me of the C that's used in the Chicago Tribune word marking, but it's the same colors as what the White Sox currently wear. So I know you're thinking to yourself that I thought hypocritical that I kind of dumped all over the Dodgers, but yes, I know I'm sounding hypocritical right now, probably to you, that you're thinking, well, Professor, Billy's even thinking this too. He's shouting this out, that, well, you said the Dodgers used their same team colors and it was poorly executed, but the White Sox have the same colors for their City Connect jerseys and hats, just like their regular uniforms, so why is it different? Well, the execution. This is different. It feels, if I dare say, kind of gangsterish with the whole uniform together. We'll get to the jersey, but the uniform altogether was embraced well by the players. I like the Chi that's just being used because that's the typical word marking, and like the scoreboard, the abbreviations on the scorecard on TV when you watch White Sox game. Usually they do CWS, but sometimes they do CHI. Just Chi, like Chi-Town. Pretty simple, but again, well executed. So we were just talking about it. The number 1 jersey of the City Connect uniforms, Southside. It is in Gothic type font. It has the reversed pinstripes of their uniforms. Vanderbilt doesn't make it look good. Chicago White Sox, they do make a black and white pinstripe jersey look good. And again, all the players embraced it very well, especially with Tim Anderson. Tim Anderson being one of the players who has kind of said out loud, whether it be this year or last year, that he doesn't really want this old man baseball to continue on. He wants the kids. To be honest, I forget how old he is, but I guess he had that young mentality of wanting baseball culture to change for the younger generation and the younger audience. And this is kind of coinciding with that idea of moving baseball away from kind of like it's still America's pastime, but moving away from the old man traditionalism, like you can't do that, it's in the unwritten rules. And ironically, one of those old geezers is managing his team, Tony La Russa. So I meant to finish my thoughts
because what I recorded didn't really finish them so well. These jerseys have a lot of swag to them. They're bold with the Southside branding letter font on the front, and the way that the players have been kind of accepting these jerseys and kind of using them as their swagger again, as their swagger identity, it's really helped boost the execution of the jersey. Like I said before, yes, I sound hypocritical when I say that these jerseys are great, even though they use the team colors, but the Dodgers use the team colors, but it was poorly executed. So I, again, sound like a hypocrite, but I think it also helps with the way the players responded. And it feels like the players might have had some sort of kind of influence or feedback into the jerseys for the South Side. So these are the top jerseys of the City Connect 2021 series editions collection. Gonna be kind of hard to beat them in the future, but I think it would be possible. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see how next year turns out.
And the number one hat of the City Connect uniforms of 2021, I'm wearing it. Chicago Cubs. Am I being biased? Nah. Maybe I am. Who cares? It's a definitive list anyways. This hat is two-tone. Yes, the Marlins and the Diamondbacks hat is also two-tone. But this was very well executed with the Chicago Star in the middle of the C in white and outlined in the light blue that matches the brim, the navy, and it would have been nice if the flag was that light blue, or maybe red, or just a different color than the white. Maybe the white's okay. Maybe I'm overthinking the accents, but I think that this was one of the better hats that was made this year. So, of course, you can say that I was biased with the definitive ranking, but let me know in the comments down below what you thought about the whole ranking. I will say, though, that for the future of the City Connect uniforms, because it was in an ESPN article that by the end of the 2023 season, all teams will have a City Connect uniform, an alternative uniform. My predictions for the City Connect teams for 2022 are in this random order. New York Yankees, New York Mets, Cincinnati Reds, San Diego Padres, Tampa Bay Rays, Philadelphia Phillies, Seattle Mariners, Los Angeles Angels, Angels of Anaheim, who cares? Washington Nationals, Texas Rangers, Milwaukee Brewers, and the Toronto Blue Jays. In 2023, the Braves, Atlanta Braves, will start off. St. Louis Cardinals, Colorado Rockies, Houston Astros, Detroit Tigers, Cleveland Guardians, Baltimore Orioles, Pittsburgh Pirates, Minnesota Twins, and Kansas City Royals. So those are my predictions for who's going to get the uniforms in those 2 years. My few notes for Nike, they're probably not watching, but my few notes for the future of the City Connect uniforms. Don't try to be too subtle, like with the paint on the sleeves for the Dodgers uniform. It's too subtle, and like the fog, it didn't convey all that well. It connected us to the city, but it wasn't executed well. It's okay to go away from the traditional team colors, just as long as, like the Boston Red Sox, the colors have a connection in a very strong way. It can't just be like, oh, well, you know, this one statue in this park over here, you know, this building has this color, and, well, that's a building that no one really goes to, right? Okay, well, thanks for trying. Maybe connecting the flag colors or the state colors could work. I'm sure the Rockies would find a pretty good way to do that. I think they would do a very good job with that. Use the history from the teams, especially the ones that have kind of moved around, like the Braves. They've gone from Boston to Milwaukee and everywhere else in between. So, you know, use some of that history to advantage. I know the Reds have been in one spot their whole lifetime, but plenty of history in 150 years for the Reds. Come on. And if you're going to use the team colors, look at what you did for the White Sox, because it was the same team colors, but the design and the font was boldly executed compared to what the Dodgers did. It's like, oh, okay, that's cool. Wasn't as bold as what the White Sox did. So I will also link in the description down below the article from ESPN. These younger players are wanting to change the game and have more fun and not be as stingy with the old-time rules and the unwritten rules. Kind of picking this up as I'm throwing it down. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below about my definitive ranking for the City Connect hats and jerseys. It's definitive, so it really shouldn't be wrong, but I always like to hear from the students out there. Again, skip the like and dislike button, just ignore it. It doesn't matter. Go to the comments. That's where you get your A+ and your participation points for the day. And comment down below if you got any of the hats from this year, whether it be your own team or maybe you just want to collect all the hats. And what 7 teams, I know there'll probably be more, but what 7 teams should be done next year for the City Connect uniforms? Even though it might be more than 7, let's imagine these 7 again next year. Which 7 would you go with next year? Realizing this was in raw footage, a 40-some minute video, so yikes. I appreciate your patience, I appreciate your time. That's what I like the most. I'll see you next time in class, everyone. Class is dismissed. Bye, everyone.